Hello, I am Victoria Seed and I am coming to you from the Vesta Approach in Manchester, UK. I help families who are affected by a loved one's drug or alcohol use, and sometimes as well, to reduce their stress and to live a better life. And I do this by teaching really effective strategies to cope through my online one-to-one and membership programs. And I can help you too. Professionals, if you are watching, that is absolutely fine. You can join in, you can comment, you can ask me any questions. And I just wanted to tell you before we start that I have launched a brand new course for family members affected by a loved one's addiction, and it is called Stop Enabling and Start Helping. I will just pop up the banner so that you can have a look at that if you like. Just go to subscribepage.com/start helping and you can find the information there. So let's get started with this live. So what are we talking about? We're talking about 5 ways to be a helpful helper without enabling. So over the last couple of weeks, the lives have been around, firstly, the impact of enabling on the family. Secondly, what is the difference between helping and enabling? And now we are talking about 5 ways to be a helpful helper without enabling. So wherever you are on social media, you can find those videos. And if you're on YouTube, you can find them there. If you're on LinkedIn, have a look at my posts there. And if you're on Facebook, you can click on the videos there as well. All right, so number 1, the first thing I want you to think about is safety. And the reason why I want you to consider this is that boundary setting, enabling, and helping are all interconnected. So you in order for you to change ways of behavior around any enabling behaviors that you've been doing, to help your loved one, but it may possibly have been making things a little bit easier for them to use their drug or alcohol, you've got to make a change. And what you might find is that your loved one expresses quite negative behavior. And it can be called an extinction burst because it means that what you're doing is working. So you might find that your loved one can be aggressive or, anything like that, maybe even violent if they've shown that behavior before. And what you've got to think about and consider when you're watching things like this and you're hearing things like this is, how do I keep myself safe? Because I don't know you personally. You can work with me and I'll help you with it. But, if you have experienced any type of abuse before, then it may well happen again. So that is really important to consider first and foremost. The other type of extinction burst is that you get those kind of promises to change, etc., but you don't actually see the change. It's just a bit of lip service, and that's another type of extinction burst as well. So what we're looking for with change is actually your loved one going into some sort of action and making effort, so that you're not the only person making the effort, right? So so that's first thing, safety. Have you got children? Because you've got to keep them safe. Have a safety plan if you are at risk. It might be that your loved one hasn't been particularly abusive, but this type of stuff has caused conflict. And the kind of 2 different things. Again, there's a fine line between the 2. But if you know certain issues have caused a lot of conflict for you, when you've addressed them or when you've tried to change things, and just be mindful of that and never ever stop doing anything that doesn't feel safe to stop for you. That's really important as well. So that's the first thing, safety. The second thing is, how a way to be a helpful helper is get as much information as you can about addiction, about recovery, and about the services that are available for you and your loved one and your children. Obviously, I can help you with family stuff. If you're an affected family member, I am a private and confidential service. However, there are free, wonderful services as well, such as AdFam. They have a helpline. AdFam have a forum that you can access for free. They also do have some free funded sessions. I'm not sure where they're up to at the moment, but have a look at that. There's Drug Fam, who have a brilliant helpline. There's Scottish Families that do lots of stuff. There's Zoom sessions. There's all sorts of things you can access. So, have a look and see what there is. And if you're not in the UK, you just Google support and help for family members affected by addiction and you will find things. In the UK, you can look at AdFam's website and find out about local services. And also, you can contact your local drug and alcohol service. Literally Google drug and alcohol service and where you live, and it'll bring it up for you. You can ring them and they will tell you what family support there is. They will tell you if there's any support for children, and they will also tell you about how your loved one can access their support, because every local authority has drug and alcohol free to access services. Okay, so find out all about that and skill yourself up so that when you hear your loved one talking about change, you can share that with them and try and support them into that. And that is not enabling, that is being strategic. So we want to be doing that work. We want to be helping your loved one to access that support, and you probably have more energy to do that if you stop doing the other things. The third thing is asking yourself if what you're doing is helpful. So how you identify an enabling behavior, and I talked about this last week, so go and look at that. The questions to ask yourself is what I'm going to do now really and truly helpful for my loved one, or is it making it easier for them to use their substance or avoid getting help or removing the consequences of the help? So if it makes it easier for them to use the substance, if it helps them avoid getting help, or it removes the consequences of their drug or alcohol use, then you're enabling, yeah? And I am not going to tell you to stop all your enabling behaviors, because if you do that, you're probably going to cause conflict. Just reduce them if you can. Some people do stop them, and that's entirely up to you. And if you feel like you can do that and make that change and communicate your new boundaries yourself, go ahead and do it. But the idea is that you do that without conflict, by sharing your feelings and how it's affecting you and what change you need to see. Yeah. Strategies then. Number 4, think about what has worked for you before. So what kind of behaviors that you've displayed really in managing your loved one's substance use has felt good for you and has also created a change in your loved one. So think about that and list them down, write it down on paper. Sometimes family members say, well, I absolutely lost my shit, and that made me feel really good, which, nobody's perfect, right? So if you're going to lose your shit every now and again with everything that you put up with, I think that is perfectly reasonable. As long as most of the time you're not losing your shit and you're managing to look after yourself, because I know I keep referring to helping your loved one, but this is about helping you, because if you can conserve your energy, you're going to be able to live your own life. And you can only conserve it by being strategic and thinking actually what's going to help and what isn't. Because if it's not going to help, I'm just going to back off and, have a bit of space for me. And then, of course, the 5th thing is boundaries. So you need to think about what your boundaries are. What do you want your life to look like? What can you have in your life? And then think about communicating those boundaries to your loved one. And it's linked to your helpful and enabling behaviors. So you might say, look, I can't give you any money anymore because I can't afford it, or it makes me worry because I know you're probably going to spend it on substances. Yeah. So in future, I'm not going to be able to do that. But what I can do is help you get some help and support. I'm happy to meet you when you're sober, whatever it is for you. So think about what you want and what you don't want. And don't just make it about removing things. Think about alternative things that you can do that are going to be helpful and that your loved one will know you're going to treat them with love, kindness, care, and compassion. So it's not about being horrible and taking all these things away and making it a punishment. It's about framing it in a way that's assertive, that's focused on your feelings, and that is going to be is going to support them to change. Yeah. So yeah, that's it really. So what have we covered? We've covered safety, we've covered knowledge and information, we've covered asking yourself the questions: is it helpful? Is it going to make it easier for them to use the substance, to avoid getting help, or to remove the consequences of the drug or alcohol use? Then we talked about strategies. Think about what's worked before and do more of those. And then we talked about boundaries. So what boundaries do you actually want in your life? What do you want to continue doing? What do you want to stop doing? So hope that was helpful. If you want to know more, you can get my course. It is only £49 and you can start right away. And I've shown the link there, subscribepage.com/start helping, and go through it all. It's brilliant. It covers everything you need to know about enabling and becoming a helpful helper and guides you through that process. So grab it now. It is a really, really good option for those of you who might not be ready for one-to-one work or for talking to anyone, or just want to focus on this specific area. Okay, so I'm going to see you next week. So take care and have a good day. And if you need any help, reach out. Bye.